I'm on Shuffle here with Lohum. How was the show? What's going through your head?
Beautiful. It was fun. I really am happy to be here. It took a couple shows to get here, but we finally made it. So yeah, had a first show shut down by the pandemic. Second show, we got robbed before we got here. So just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to make it happen.
What's your creative process when creating your music?
I guess it's pretty wide open. A lot of it kind of starts with these sort of like sketching in Ableton. I basically sketch out ideas. I do bass synths. I'll do some kind of creative beat. I'll do like kind of anything, and then that sort of kind of becomes like a big sketchboard. And then I sort of take these sketches, and then I start doing vocal stuff. I kind of do like the Jay-Z like mumble rap thing. I kind of just articulate different melodies over ideas, and then they kind of just start to sort of culminate, and I kind of sift through it. And yeah, I also do a lot of co-writing with my friends in Los Angeles. I have a lot of friends I just have a lot of admiration for their talents, and so Lohum can kind of be ambiguous. I can kind of have fun with people and do whatever I want. It's all kind of funneling through me, but you know, I just kind of just follow the inspiration, you know, and basically the basic idea is just to follow the inspiration. So yeah, it's fun.
What bands or friends do you co-write for?
I have a band name, let's see, some writing I've done lately. James Supercave is one. I did some writing with Neil Francis lately. I did some writing with T from Warpaint. We've been doing some like stuff. Who else have I been writing with? I have like a few sessions coming up here with some artists from the UK. My buddy Phil, kind of all over the place. It's just like a melting pot of a lot of different people. Some of my other friends are in some other projects, less known. We're doing co-writes with that. A lot of it's a community of people that I've just been playing music with a long time that I really trust, and those are the ones that usually like to jump on the Lohum project and kind of help me just have fun and be creative, you know, see what happens.
So during your set, there was a fight at the Valley Bar.
I fucking just heard about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was first of all, that's a first.
That's the first fight at a Lohum concert.
1000%, yeah. And I was totally caught off guard. I actually didn't know there was a fight until I got off stage, and then we were kind of talking with some people, and then they're like, yeah, there was a fight. And I didn't realize it was a fight because, you know, it's tough. We have in-ear monitors. There's lights flashing in my face. I can't always, make out what's going on. But yeah, there was a serious fight apparently, and I wish I'd known that. I would have stopped it and kind of like tried to suss it out. But it was an interesting energy. I couldn't really figure out what was going on. I knew something was happening, but I kind of thought it was like
moshing maybe.
Yeah, and then like maybe like the security just took the guy out or something. I couldn't really see. I mean, the lights were flashing in my eyes. I couldn't really see, but yeah, that's a first.
Yeah.
Not really something I love, that's for sure. I was like, what the fuck? That's kind of why after the show, I was like, after that happened, I sensed something was happening, but I was just like, make sure you're taking care of each other out there. Because I didn't really know what was going on. New experience. Yeah.
For new aspiring artists, what's some advice you can give them?
Aspiring artists. Take your time and just work really hard on your craft, and don't think that the first things that you make are your best things. Like, take your time and make a lot of it before you pull the trigger on releasing stuff. You know, when I first started making records, there was no Spotify, there was no internet, basically, the way that it is today. And it took a long time to make a record because you needed money and you needed to play shows, and people needed to give a shit about you before anyone would give you a chance to record. And today I feel like we have this amazing ability to record anything at any moment. And I think because of that, art sort of is coming out, like it's a lot of art's coming out. And I would just say, like, take your time and like don't feel like you need to put shit out. Like, work your shit and work your ideas and really sort of really like give yourself time to grow. Lohum was I still try to, you know, I make a lot of music, but not a lot of it comes out, you know, and so a lot of it is being sort of, I make it and then I kind of see what happens, and if it works, then sweet, I'll put it out. But like, I like to kind of just like let it breathe, and I would say that is the best one, because a lot of times I feel like you jump the gun to put shit out because you think you're gonna like help the algorithm, and you're trying to like game the algorithm or some shit. But in reality, it's like take your time and like really become an artist. Take your time, breathe. Like there's no rush. It's like just enjoy the process and take your time. That'd probably be my best advice.
And speaking of the algorithm, your biggest single blew up over TikTok and Instagram. What are your thoughts on the new age of marketing? Instead of people running up to you with CDs, it's now making these TikToks and Instagrams to promote music.
I mean, I could talk extensively about the music business. I started my career in music. I worked at the music industry. I was an A&R coordinator at Interscope, and I got this kind of insight to seeing how streaming music was sort of dictating what's going on. And I'm not a fan of the idea that music should be free. I think that's the biggest facade. I'm not a fan of any artist being not paid. I think that's the antithesis of what appreciating art is about. I think we should be paying everybody. I think we should be paying more for music. I think we should value our artistic abilities. So I think, I'm really thankful that Comatose is able to help a lot of people, and I recognize that like the internet has really spread that information, and it's really given love to people who really needed some love, and I think that's amazing. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm down for the current sort of cultural accepting of music being free. I think that's very bad for society. I think we should value our art just like we value people who are plumbers who come to your house and work on their crafts, just like we value anybody who's working on a craft. I don't think the culture of free shit is very cool for art. I think it's actually pretty bad. And I think Spotify and these other companies, I think they have helped us in some capacity, but I don't think they're helping the like larger picture. I think they're potentially hurting the larger picture, even though they've done a lot to help artists like me get heard. But I'm worried that we're training a culture of people to accept music to be free, and I think that's very dangerous for art and music in general.
Interesting take. And going off of that take, do you think you have like a really hot music take that's in your mind?
Hot music take in my mind. Let's see.
Something to get those comments boiling.
Yeah. I think that maybe what Radiohead did by releasing a free album and allowing fans to pay for whatever they wanted might have inadvertently done more damage than good in terms of how the culture digests art now. I think like when they dropped In Rainbows and they allowed us to create our own payment plan, as much as it was beneficial for their caliber of artists, somebody who can have that leverage because they're very well known already, I'm like nervous that has inadvertently made most of music consumption culture kind of saying like, hey, like we should get this shit for free. I'm not a big fan of that. I think South by Southwest is bullshit. I think they should be paying other artists, period. There's a lot of money floating around there and they're not paying people. I'm just a big proponent of the artists. I think we need to unionize more. I think we need to like get our shit together and like demand like the things that are basic kind of rights for artists. Otherwise there will be no middle class of art, period. Totally. I'm a touring musician. It's extremely expensive to get on the road and tour. I know a lot of bands that have fallen apart because of these problems. And so, I think if we want to see a culture of art flourish, like we got to put our money where our mouth is, basically. I'm on a Canadian record label, so like to your point, Canada supports the arts very well, and so my record label definitely gets funding from the Canadian government. There was a period of time where I had to like put these like stickers and these like things that said like my art was funded by the Canadian government. And I think that's incredible. As a band, we have this conversation a lot. We went on tour with Warpaint, and we got to travel all of Europe, and I got to go to France and the UK, Belgium, and all these beautiful countries, and they're very supportive of the arts there. But the irony and the weird thing about it is that most of these artists are coming to America. They still come to LA. They want to be in the epicenter of all of creativity, and it's the place where the government gives the least fuck about us, basically. They give us no support. And it's weird, though, because I do think that as much as I would love, as much as I continually want to see support of the arts, there's something about the grind of coming to LA and fucking getting no love and paying a lot of money, and you just gotta make art because you fucking love it, and no one's gonna help you. And I think that cultivates something special. With all that being said, you know, on to the conversation of healthcare. Like, I'm 100% down for healthcare. Okay, like I'm all about that shit. I think, you know, California luckily does a lot to help people with the healthcare thing, but it's an interesting conversation. I'd love to see more support for the arts in the United States, undoubtedly. But I do also sense that the lack of support creates this sort of drive and this hunger that doesn't really happen in other parts of the world because of the comforts of the government supporting your art, basically. So it's a weird thing. And like I said, this is coming from somebody who has never got any support from the government for any of my art, and having people in my band who are from France and who have been supported by the government. And so they're living here, you know. They're not in France.
Forcing me to say this.
Yeah. No, you know, again, like, I would love to see more art supports. I don't want to get misconstrued in what I'm trying to say, but I think there's a climate in the U.S. that's uniquely difficult, that brings a lot of people, and that you got to really do it because you love it, you know. And I think that's interesting about the whole process.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And as a millennial, there's a lot of stereotypes that fit every generation. What is one stereotype for millennials you think you fit?
I love my phone, and I love consuming culture and media. I think TikTok is fucking sick. I think there's a lot of things that I've learned about it from there. I like social media. I think it's like anything in life, you know, you can, you know, like alcohol, you know, you can have a sip of alcohol every day and it's all good. It helps you with your blood pressure, brings things down, and it's all good. And then you can drink every day and be a mess, you know, and have your life fall apart. I really think that, like, there is a great strength in communication and spreading the word, and I you know, I think that's kind of like an important part of us, is being able to communicate with each other and connect with each other. And so I'm a big proponent of that particular aspect of media. I think the First Amendment right to be able to communicate on these platforms is a beautiful thing. So, you know, that's kind of my stance on all that stuff.
Yeah. Final question. Who's the realest motherfucker you know?
Ooh, the realest motherfucker I know. Who is the realest motherfucker I know? Probably. Well, he's not around anymore, but it's probably my grandfather. He was a native Hawaiian. He pretty much taught me everything I knew about being disciplined around creating art, respecting people, respecting women. He was a gangster. He was German Hawaiian. He basically gave me my first guitar, gave me my first electric guitar, taught me how to, like, sit down and play guitar and go slow and learn your craft and have beauty in your craft. The song Nebraska is basically about him. He passed away while I was on tour, and I was driving through Nebraska when it happened. And he kind of visited me in, like, a dream once, and after he passed away. And yeah, I would say my grandpa, shout out to Papa Godfrey. He was the realest motherfucker I ever met. Yeah.
Awesome answer.
Yeah.
Any final words, upcoming projects you want to share?
Got a new record dropping on May 27th. Really proud of it. I produced it myself, which is the first time I've ever really, like, produced a full record on my own. You know, we're gonna go on tour with Ra Ra Riot in New York in a couple of days. We're gonna be heading out, and then you know, like, basically we just are gonna be doing a lot of cool shit coming up here. So please stay tuned to Lohum.
Awesome. Well, I'm on Shuffle with Lohum.
Yeah.
We're out of here.